Hey guys, this is Josh here with Trillium Wild Edibles, and I wanted to give all of you guys a quick little heads up. Do not forage these mushrooms thinking that they are morels. These are not morels. These are what is known as the false morel. So let's take a close look at these and see what differentiates these from the true morel that we're after this time of year. As we get up close and personal with the false morel, the one thing that we're going to notice is its extremely ugly appearance. These things look almost brain-like instead of the morel, which looks a little bit more phallic in nature. Also, the morel, the true morel, will have pits, versus on the false morel, we can see all these waves and ridges instead of deep pits going alongside the top of the cap. Another way to determine a false morel from a true morel is that the false morels will oftentimes be growing on the ground like this. They do have a stalk, and sometimes they grow upwards on their stalk, sometimes quite as tall as a regular morel. But from a side view, oftentimes the false morel will appear as if it's just growing on the ground. But anyways, a false morel will oftentimes appear as if it's growing on the ground, though it does grow from a stalk. Let's take a quick look at the stalk of the false morel. As we can see, there's another false morel hiding underneath this little bitty log, and there are several more over there. So let's take one of these out and take a look at it a little bit more closely. After pulling that false morel out of the ground, we can see this small stalk that it has. Now over time, over the next week or so, this guy would grow up a lot taller and its stalk would be a lot more distinct and noticeable. Right here is a really good close-up. We can see the stalk goes inside of the cap of the mushroom, versus on a regular morel, the inside of the morel is hollow. Versus on the false morel, like we can see here on the inside, the stem actually goes all the way up through the cap of the mushroom. This is the best way to determine if we have a true morel or a false morel. The main reason you do not want to eat a false morel is because it is poisonous and it is toxic. Now there's obviously people out there who say they eat them with no issues, and that very well may be true. But the odds of that happening to you are slim, and it's best to not risk it. The reason we want to avoid a false morel in our collection bag is because they are poisonous. Simply cooking these and the steam it gives off can actually cause nasty side effects in people. Things like dizziness, nausea, vomiting, headaches, diarrhea, things of that sort. So we do not want to eat a false morel, and that's why it's important to know the difference between a true morel and a false morel. I thank all of you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. If you want to learn more about wild edibles or medicinal plants, please make sure to subscribe.